Welcome, everybody, to HMSPod. I'm
Welcome.
Alex.
I'm Mia.
And
I'm So. Hello.
Sophie in the house. We have our first
guest.
ever special guest.
And also first face reveal for Soph, because I think we established right before the call started that, like, you haven't face revealed to anyone yet. You haven't video chatted with people from the group chat.
No, this is it. You know, the ice is broken. I can't go back now. I'm stuck. This is it.
No, and we are honored that
What a
we're
place to start.
She's got a lovely face, everyone.
I think for our tea of the episode, we'll go round because Soph has also an excellent beverage of choice. I am drinking a tea. I've got my tea. What is my tea? I've got my advent calendar tea, so I'm cycling through the flavors. Today is lemongrass and ginger. I know she's spicy. Admittedly, she's not my favorite, but I will be drinking her the entire way through. So cheers. Alex, what are you drinking?
Ginger, because I've been farting up a storm today. Okay, so I'm a little bloated. Ginger's what I needed. Which, I mean, my tummy kind of hurts, but the wad of cookie dough I was just eating pre-call might have fed into it a little bit. But I'm rebounding back with this ginger tea right now.
You can tell she's a nursing student.
Oh yeah.
I'm a RN. Drink your ginger tea.
And Miss Soph, what do you have in store for us? In my store, I mean, in your bottle that you're holding.
Yeah. I was gonna put it in a mug, but I didn't feel like it. I'm drinking a lovely Stella because I don't really drink tea, so I have beer, and they drink it in the show sometimes. So you know what? It's fine. It's topical.
There we go. She's appropriate. She's come prepared, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
She has
indeed. All right, so this episode, as you can probably tell by the title and the fact that we're releasing these in chronological order, this is episode 4. The title of which I have forgotten.
Wait, okay, so I think I fucked up. This is like a really poorly titled Google Doc. We are talking about episode 4, actually, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes?
This is a professional podcast. What is it called?
Hold on, I'll do an IMDb. We'll cut this out in edit.
It's called Spy Games. It's Spy Games.
Spy Games. Okay, we'll rewrite that. Okay.
Oh, that's humiliating, Mia.
All right, okay, hold on. I'll read it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today on the HMSPod, we are looking at Outer Banks, Season 1, Episode 4, Spy Games, which we already knew because we were prepared, and that was what our Word doc was called. So what are our thoughts, our starting thoughts on this episode? What are our, are we positive about this episode, negative about this episode?
It's the first good episode, like truly good.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. Like, this was the first episode where I was like, wait, maybe the show has some rights, even though I was
yeah.
Because I think we've talked for the last 3 where we always start and we're like, this episode kind of boring. No, this is like the first one where I like this episode.
Yeah, me too. I think this episode's where a lot of the plot really kicks in. So that's when you're like, oh, okay, this is all what's happening. You're kind of rolling with the punches. You're like, right, there's sort of a murder mystery at play. There's a treasure hunt at play. There are, they are more than just pretty boys with faces and abs. I mean, not much more, but a little more, which is
not give them too much credit here. Let's not go crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I did actually really enjoy this episode. I think we'll later see that Alex is a bit of a hater in this episode. A Jarah B hater.
I'm very excited to hear this.
It's just yeah.
Step up to the podium, Alex HMSPod.
Oh, right now?
No, we'll talk about it at the time.
I'll have my day in court.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'd like to just start off by saying that Alex is a Jarah B hater, and that will be addressed in this episode. So
she won't get away.
I was actually about to defend myself, but no, I'm not like a Jarah B hater, but I'm just they kind of take up screen time.
Hot take.
I'm sorry. Sometimes
no. Cute. All right. We'll hear you out, I guess, when the time comes. Right, so the episode begins. It picks up almost exactly left off at the end of episode 3 with the Pogues out on the boat, looking down at, trying to suss out the shipwreck. The episode ended with the camera finding the shipwreck, and Alex, you and I were talking last episode how we were like, wow, this is episode 3 and they've already found the treasure hunt, or the thing they've been searching for. We're like, this is remarkably fast. And then turns out, yes, this boat is empty of treasure or anything. John B is like, someone's gotten here before us, instead of maybe treasure doesn't exist, because he is nothing if not an eternal optimist. And yeah, I mean, he also has, and Alex has pointed out on our notes, the most incredible line, magic gets cancer and dies. And I'm like, wow, John B, the poet.
Honestly, I think I also wrongly said that this line happens either 2 episodes ago or last episode. Sorry, everyone. I lied. It's this episode. I remember hearing that for the first time and being like, what? the fuck. But also, thank God that Chase Stokes is the one delivering this.
Yeah. It could have
That's how I
been
feel
so
about
much
all
worse.
of his lines. There's no way anyone would be able to pull that shit off.
No. We are big fans of Chase Stokes voiceovers here at HMSPod, and this is one of those lines where like Chase very much carries it off, but damn if he isn't a good narrator. Like I get a little emo, which we'll talk about when we get to the episodes. There are some episode voiceovers where I'm like, holy shit, that was really good. That actually was a very good line. You know?
Mm-hmm.
This is not.
Yeah. I'd actually argue this is maybe one of his high points of the season. Magic gets cancer and dies. Stop. Bars. But yeah, I mean, on a mostly unrelated note, Chase Stokes has a very nice speaking voice, and I do think he should do audiobooks at some point. But,
Yes. Oh my God.
That's just a personal request. Chase Stokes, please do audiobooks.
Let's see. So, you have a note here. Would you like to talk about JJ's fit that he's wearing?
Okay. I think it was Lara who like first pointed it out in like a Tumblr post, but she like made a GIF set where she was like, JJ scenes that give me gender envy, and this is one of them. And I was like, yes, thank you for speaking your truth. Because I agree so much. All of his outfits give me gender envy, but like this one, even though it's like super gross, like that sweatshirt is like discolored from how stained it is, but he still looks so good, and I hate him for it. So there you go.
Anytime you put him in a hat, I think, like, what else are we supposed to think other than unholy thoughts? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, I mean, you can't put him in a sweater. Like they need to put him in a sweater more. Like, please, Tate, this is my request.
Absolutely.
Please put JJ in long sleeves.
Yes.
Also, sorry, completely irrelevant. Did you say GIF set?
I heard that too.
No, I'm just curious. I've never met a GIFer in the flesh.
A GIF?
Oh, no.
Among Us?
Oh no.
Now it's your turn to step up to the mic.
She knows that she said it. Are you? Because Mia, you're GIF as well.
I'm GIF.
I've never heard of a GIF. I've never met a Jiffy.
So what do you have to say for yourself?
I'm not doing this. My brother is the same as you two, and I thought I could get away from this. I thought this was a safe space, and you know what?
One thing about HMSPod, it's not safe to be yourself here. You will get obliterated
I see that.
for it.
Everything you say is immortalized on the internet forever. So you're welcome. I've now got that soundbite of you saying GIF set forever, and I will be holding it over your head. I know. I think this is. I would like to explain for the viewers at home. This is behind the scenes. We just explained the origin of my nickname Cream Cheese to Soph, and I pretty much warned her. I was like, "This is why you should never say anything ever." And we've now immediately proved her point by harassing her for the way she pronounces GIF.
Yeah, Mia was like, I got the worst of it. Like, watch your back, and now Mia's the one that comes for in this moment. The hypocrisy.
Warned me and then immediately stabbed me in the back. Like,
yeah, Mia is a snake. Okay, one thing about Mia, she is a snake.
Not to be trusted.
No, I don't trust Mia ever.
Watch your back.
Sleep with one eye open. At first it was Ray, and now it's you. So now you know.
We've got a list.
Ray, so sleep with one eye open. So then after this scene where they have located the merchant, but not the gold, John B kind of like heads back to his house, and it's the first time we come in contact with his lovely social worker, Cheryl, who informs him that she's taking him to foster care with a giant police officer, which, by the way, is this the same police officer that commits police brutality against John B in season 2? Okay, it is.
Yes, we hate him. I hate him.
What's his name? Andrews? Am I making that up?
Thomas. Deputy Thomas.
And that's why we have Soph on the show, everyone, because Mia and I are raging imbeciles. We couldn't name at the beginning.
At least once an episode. I'm like, what's his name again? Is it Jake B? Jake C?
PP? Best friend. So the police officer who will later commit egregious police brutality against John B is with them. John B manages, he gets thrown into the car. They're going to take him to the mainland. John B manages to escape the car by, he has a picture of Big John with him, and he drops it out the window and makes the cop go get it. This is where Sarah finds and, will eventually hide him at Tanny Hill. But may I just say, the picture scene is one of the first times where I'm like, wait, you have an IQ. That was kind of smart.
I know. I was like, damn. He kind of he finessed that. Like, he pulled it off so convincingly. Although I will say, I mean, rewatching it, because I remember watching the scene and having the same thought. I was like, damn, John B, that's kind of smart. But I remember thinking, I was like, Cheryl's not that stupid. She's not going to let him out the car to like, come on. He's run at every single opportunity. You finally have him in the car. You're not going to let him out, Cheryl. I'm like, you had this coming. She surely does. Cheryl, the bar was so low. I mean, yeah, let's take the scene from the beginning. So, I mean, John B walks in and, you know, they're inside. And this is what I'm saying. We talked about this, I think, a few episodes ago, maybe last episode. But you said that in the South, they don't lock their doors. John B, this is why you lock your doors.
Your social worker's going to come in and get you.
He also knows that, like, the square grouper people are, like, after him. And he still doesn't lock his door. Like, he, not even that, is like, you know what, maybe.
He has so much range here, because he has the range to pull off such a convincing plan of throwing a picture out the window, and yet does not think to maybe lock his house when he knows that he has about 8 people after him at the moment.
He is nothing if not multifaceted.
I will say, like, in the South, you know, like, you listen to any true crime podcast, and, like, if a murder takes place in the South or whatever, they're like, it was the kind of town that never locked their doors, and then suddenly after this murder, like, everyone was coming home at night. John B's the one that's still, there would be a raging serial killer on the loose, and John B would still not be locking his front door.
There was a raging serial killer on the loose.
Like, yeah.
Oh, that's true. I stand corrected. He, in canon, has done this. So
yeah. No, Sophie, you're right. He would sleep in the hammock. He's like, yeah, I'll just offer me up to them on like a silver plate. Like, he really tempts death at every single turn. But yeah, I think you've both made this note, but Chase Stokes is actually, like, John B is kind of hilarious, the scene. Like, he just gets more and more panicked.
The increasing and he plays it really well. Sends me something about it.
He gets so, like, panicked so fast. At first he's just like, really, like, today, and then he's like screaming. I'm like, okay,
escalation,
calm it down.
Yeah, you've made the note that he throws the Cheerios at the police officer, which I completely forgot about. Like, he has that multifaceted range in the scene. Like, what an absolute dumbass.
It's like the increasing hysteria every single time I watch this scene. Like, he starts off being kind of chill, like, haha, lol, you're not taking me to the mainland. And then as soon as he sees Thomas, his blood pressure, I see it spiking.
Yeah. Like, Alex is a nurse, so she'd know.
Yeah, I can look at people and tell you their blood pressure. So that's actually one thing they teach you.
You never would have known otherwise. You know, so good at hiding it.
Yeah, the only reason I knew that and had this great observation is because of my degree. But it's okay if you missed it. Like, don't feel bad.
But yeah, then he pulls off that incredible heist where he gets out the car. And again, I mean, I've said this before. I've literally said this about 2 minutes ago. But Cheryl, you dumb bitch. Why would you let him? Why would you let him out the car? And then he goes on the most unhinged wild goose chase in the entire world. He is such a menace. Oh my god. He steals a bike, for one. Hashtag justice for Jorge.
Justice for Jorge, who we see in season 2. I forgot about it. But you see Jorge again in season 2. And he's not mad at John B. He's actually kind of glad he got out of prison. But it's like, Jorge, he actually stole from you, though. So you should be one of the people lobbying to keep him locked up. Character continuity is unexistent. I'm going to write Jorge a multi-chapter fic next. You just wait.
It's Alex and the underdeveloped side character against the world.
That's what I live for.
But yeah, he does absolute maniac tricks. You know, on the ramp. First of all, why is that ramp against a fence? Like, you know.
Why are you asking questions?
That is a fair point.
Sometimes they jump into their neighbor's lawn.
Yeah. Sometimes things just have to happen. Sorry, you're right. I'll let it happen.
So also they have the note about, this is where, like, she first says, I know that Uncle T's in a casino in Mississippi. Fucking thoughts on that? Because when is that ever addressed again?
They just don't care. They do not fucking care. If there's anything I know about Outer Banks, it's that they love bringing in DCS for some drama, and then as soon as we're like, okay, but like, what happens to, like, JJ? They don't care.
That's what we said last episode.
Any of that, like,
where to stay. Where's DCS?
Yeah, they only bring in DCS when they need some extra drama. It never, like, actually means anything or is, like, realistic ever. They do not care that Uncle T is in Mississippi. Maybe he's even not. Who knows? Like, she just said some shit. I don't know.
Plot relevant foster care.
Yeah.
Well, because also What a wild thing to throw out where it's like my uncle, who was charged to take care of me for months, a minor, just is gone because he didn't want to be here anymore. And then we just kind of accept that and move on, you know?
That is so true. I didn't even think of that. Like, do we think, like, what do we think happened? Like, do we think John B was like, yeah, you can head off? Or do we think Uncle T was like, bye, you know, like, what are our thoughts?
Either way, imagine your 16-year-old nephew being like, actually don't need you to take care of me, and being like, oh, you're right. And then
Yeah, just believing him. Okay, yeah. You got
especially
this.
if your nephew
You got
is
this.
John Booker Rutledge.
Yep. Absolutely. Man who has never locked his door ever. Like, yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Uncle T was fine with it because he walked right out that door super easily. Nothing
John B
stopped.
just leaves. John B leaves his door wide open, and Uncle T is like, right, cool, I'll take that invitation.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's like means. That's my cue.
He was like, yes, 30-year-old, 16-year-old. I trust that you know how to look
Uncle
after
T is
yourself.
like a new puppy you have, where like if you leave the door open, they'll like accidentally run out and be lost forever. Like John B left the door open one time, and Uncle T is gone. He's never coming.
He ends up in Mississippi. Please locate
Yeah.
him if you found him.
Just kept running till he got to the casino. That was it.
Picturing that happening. Picturing this grown man just sprinting out of the chateau and not stopping until he reaches a gambling hall in fuck all Mississippi of all places.
Oh God, the armpit of the United States. That's rough.
Yeah.
You had that here first.
I've been there. Okay, I've been there.
One armpit. What's the other pit? Because I raised you in Florida.
Ooh, yeah, that's the armpit that's like braided and like has beads in it too.
Yeah. That, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe she's a little tan. You know, like a little.
Oh my gosh, you cracked me up. Also, I mean, so I'm sure you know, we like pick out key quotes to like name the episodes after. We're gonna have, I mean, we're like half an hour in, and we're really gonna have such a tough time trying to find which quote we're gonna name.
Iconic quotes, an excellent segue. This is the scene where we get John B, did you just yeet over that chain?
Arguably I'd say the
Beautiful.
quote of Outer Banks season 1.
I think
That
you
tells
can
you
tell
everything you
as
need to know.
Madeline is saying it, she knows it's cringy.
I can see the light just leave her eyes. Like she's just like, I have to get this paycheck. I have to do this.
Yeah, you know, whichever like boomer in that. I'm sorry, writers, we love you dearly. But I'm about to roast you. You know, whenever like millennial / boomer in that writers' room was like, this is what the kids say. This is what a 16-year-old would say. In response to seeing a man fly face first over a fence, they're like, yes, yeet. That's what the kids are saying.
We said this
Write
the
that
last
down, write
episode.
that down.
Yeah, exactly. We said this last episode we released, but how hard is it to go and just grab Lila Pate from where she's hanging out on set and being like, would you say this?
Or, like,
I mean,
even,
also
like Madeline Klein, like, did she not like have an opinion? Did they not let her have an opinion? Because like they let them improv a lot. So like, were they like, no, you can't take this line away from us?
Some writer like hitching their
what?
wagon to this line is hilarious to me. Like the thought that they were like, you can improv whatever the hell you want, but don't you dare fucking not say yeet. Or you're
This stays.
for killing Sarah if you don't say yeet in this scene.
yeet is non-negotiable.
It's in the contract.
But yeah, so we have Sarah in this cute little outfit, you know, appearing out of nowhere like a genie, being like, did you eat over that chain? And it's very convenient. She has a big flashy black car for him to scramble into, like the little rat he is, and drive away from the DCS lady and Officer Thomas. Yeah, I mean, Alex, you've made this note. Oh no, who made this note? Soph, you made this note. Sorry, I'm losing track of all the colours. The note.
There's only 3.
Stop exposing me.
So many colors. One of them is black.
So your final note, I think, is indeed excellent.
Oh yeah, I'm like, as soon as Sarah notices that John B's like on the run, she's like, this is the Bonnie and Clyde AU that I've been waiting for my entire life. And she's so excited. She's ready for it.
I mean, as soon like they dive into that like little like spy role play so quick. Like, you know, she's had that one in the bag for a while.
She's been waiting. Yep.
Alex just rolled her eyes.
fantasy.
I did because I hate
Stop being a hater.
the spy AU.
It's cute.
I'm not saying
okay?
I like it.
Oh.
But it is
It's
what
cute.
it is.
Okay, I'll say it's cute the first few times they do it, and then I get further into the episode and I'm like, I'm gonna chop my own head off right now if I hear you Val one more time.
I mean, Soph, I thought we'd be in line with this, but you're a Val/Vlad hater as well.
I don't think I'm a hater. I recognize how cheesy it is, and that like the entire time it's only like Madeline and Chase really just, you can hear their backs breaking under the weight of trying to hold this up. So like I know it's cheesy, but I also still kind of like it because they make it work, you know? So I'm in the middle. I don't love it.
That is true. I think we've talked a lot about how I think Chase Stokes really saves John B. But I'm a bit of a call me a Jarah B stan would be a bit too far. I do think they're very sweet this episode, but I do think we need to give a lot of credit to the fact that Chase and Madeline have excellent chemistry. Because again, in the wrong hands, this could have been absolute cringe fest. And some may argue, and some being Alexis, that it still is. But
well, honestly, no, I'll stand by that. It would be so much worse if it was anyone else. Like, it would be unbearable if it were any other actors. But, and I'm not like a constant Jarah B hater. I'm not like anti-Jarah B. I don't like want them to break up. It's just that they, yep.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I do get it.
I don't. Which when they get further into their flirtation relationship, then I'll probably expand on that more. But just, I'm here for Giara, and that's. I just don't want Jarah B to break up, but I can't even really tell if it's for. I just don't want Jarah B to break up because I want them to be together, or if I don't want them to break up because I don't want the drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the same way they had the court mandated yeet, they've got the court mandated seasonal Jarah B breakup every single season.
Oh my god! Every time.
I hate it.
I know. Can't wait for season 3 where Topper inserts himself yet again.
Oh my god,
still here.
I know. Which actually, speaking of Topper,
you're so good at this.
I just stop. My segues get worse and worse as this podcast progresses. But the next scene after John B and Sarah have gone squealing away in Sarah's big black car, it's revealed to Topper and his mum that Topper's boat has been mysteriously sunk. Dun dun dun. And Topper's mum is a bit of a bitch in this scene, you can argue. She's not very happy. She clearly thinks it was Topper's fault, which I don't blame her for, because look at Topper's head. His head looks like it's filled with gasoline. Not gasoline, like helium. Like, I feel like if you blew on it too hard, it would just burst. Yeah, and it would become just like a high-pitched wheezing noise. And then Topper is full of manly rage and works it out in the only way that a man can, which is at the gym, in a very gratuitously shirtless scene with our man Kels and Rafe. And yeah, it's just a lot of shirtlessness where Topper is kind of like grunting as he's like pulling at the bar. He's like, my mom doesn't understand me. My life is so hard. The American accent gets better and better.
So then that's like we have notes about, like, y'all both wrote really good notes about this then, because I feel like this dynamic with Topper and his mom is never touched again, especially not in season 2. Like, Topper's parents are not seen one single time in season 2. But do you think they were going to do something with this, or do you think that they already thought they were doing something with this? Does that make sense?
So I'll let you take the main stage with on this one, because I think you've written a very, very, very thoughtful note about this. I just kind of said that it almost felt like a failed JJ arc in a way. Like, I think it almost felt like, I'd hesitate to call it redemption because it's not really, but I think it almost felt like a failed sympathy arc, like being like, this is why Topper is the way he is. But I think the fact that Topper is just, he's just so bland that it's kind of, I don't know, he's like, I don't know, it's like, this is going to be like the worst simile ever, but I've just watched a video on how to make pasta, and it's like, and it's like, and there's like two types there's like two types of spaghetti. There's like bronze cut spaghetti, which is like rough, and then there's a really cheap made spaghetti, which is like super smooth, and the sauce can't really penetrate the super smooth spaghetti. It just kind of slides off, and Topper kind of feels like a super smooth spaghetti. Like, the sauce just does not hit. Yes.
Wow.
Did you tell I'm a creative writing student? But yeah, I just don't think that I think it's a mix of just Topper being bland and being super smooth spaghetti. And also I think just the fact that, like Alex said, this is never really touched again. So I think that's why it's a very big miss for me, this like 5 minutes that this like, I guess like storyline is dedicated to in the entire show, I'd argue.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with like all of that. Like, they keep flip-flopping whether or not Topper is like a good person or not, and they're gonna keep doing that throughout like the entire show, so it's just really confusing. Like, they're not they can't commit to redeeming him, but they also can't commit to just like making him a creep, which he is. So it's just like this weird in between. And like, I thought maybe to give him a little bit of credit, they might have been adding this in to show that like he is obsessed with having this perfect relationship with Sarah, and a lot of that pressure comes from his mom, which like, yeah, that's understandable, cool, but Topper sucks and he's spaghetti or whatever. So like,
Yeah, I mean, that was gonna be my next question. Like, me and I kind of talked a lot about this, but like, my question was gonna be, are you pro Topper redemption? And from the wording, it seems like a solid no, which the same way. Like, we said, I think me and I both agreed that I left season 1 being like, maybe, like, they could sell me on it if they tried hard enough, and then season 2, I was like, Jesus Christ, if I ever see this man on my screen again, I'm gonna fall asleep throughout a full episode.
yeah.
Like, spaghetti everywhere, you know?
It's like crazy how much they like fumbled it like so badly. Like they really didn't even try to go one way or the other. Like it's so crazy how they did that. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea.
So if I think you made a really interesting point about like, I don't know, I think it's like his character sort of depends on what he like his position to the Jarah B of it all, I guess, because it's like whether or not he's a good guy, bad guy, it sort of depends on where Jarah B are. Like, are they on the rocks? Are they super strong together? Like, where is this? Like, where? And I think it's almost like, you know, it almost feels like what's that? Like Schrodinger's like douchebag or something. Like it's like depending on like how John B and Sarah are doing, Topper will react accordingly. You know, like it's just I think it's like his I don't know, which is why I just think like redemption arc would just fail so massively because he's only important in like in proxy to John B and Sarah. And I feel like any redemption would just feel very strange because it's like, no, you've got to be the bad guy when John B needs to come and save Sarah, and you've got to be the good guy when when Sarah needs to escape John B because she's a serial cheater. Anyway,
I remember seeing like a theory really shortly after season 1 where like the person basically, I don't even know what they were basing it off of, but like they basically thought that Topper, the theory kind of hinged on John B and Sarah can't let the Pogues know quite yet that they're actually alive. So the theory was like, but they want to still know what's going on in Outer Banks. So like, what if Topper's like the only one that they're in contact with? And it's like this really weird, interesting dynamic where like they have to rely on Topper, but they like really don't want to. And maybe that would redeem him. And I was like, oh, you know, like I could actually kind of get with that. Like, because imagine the scene where JJ finds out that Topper knew they were alive before he did. That'd be something. But also, I mean, it's basically just repeating what we've already said, but I would have been pro Topper redemption if I thought he was doing things for the right reason, but it's pretty clear. It's pretty fucking clear. Like, he doesn't care about doing the right thing or the Pogues. He only cares about Sarah, which, no thank you. So
yeah, I mean, I don't really know what's left to say about the scene because I think like even the gym scene is just pretty much more just Topper being whiny. He's just, you know, at the gym doing reps. I don't know if that's the right term. As you can tell, I'm a fitness queen.
very good.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I think Kels, I mean, they all look great in the scene. I'll give them that. But but yeah. After
this lovely scene, that does absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of the show because they never touched it again. Sarah and John B are back at Tanny Hill. Sarah takes him upstairs to patch him up in a scene that I will say I was like, ooh, they got good chemistry. You know, like this is a scene where I'm like, Jarah B, you know. But he is the biggest baby that you could ever imagine. In this moment, and Sarah's like iconic when he like slaps Sarah's hand and she's like, excuse you. I love that scene. Makes me giggle every time.
Sarah, she really just does kind of slay the scene. Also, yeah, I mean, he is such like a thing. It always did make me laugh how like almost like cosmetically beautiful his little scraper is. Like he flies across that fence and he's got like the world's most perfect graze on the side of his very, very, very hairless torso. I'm just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like it's like, I'm like, King, you've barely been grazed. Yeah. I'm like, you've barely been grazed. Come on. Yeah, then Sarah sneaks him in. And Mr. Ward Cameron, our fave, Mr. Ward, Dill Ford. Yeah, I mean, Sophie Orno is very cute here about Sarah. You've got a little picture. We'll maybe attach this in the description.
In the show notes.
Yeah, I had to. I just had to. I saw it and I was like, that's the most amazing picture I've ever seen. She's so cute. she's like trying to hide John B as Ward's coming down the stairs, and she just stands with like her hands on her hips and she just smiles at him. It's so adorable. Not smooth at all, but I love her, and that's all I wanted to say.
She is cute. I do hate these shoes though. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry, not sorry.
I hate this whole outfit.
I made a note in my separate notes before I put this in. The Outer Banks costume department do Sarah so dirty with like booby tops that don't hold her up at all. Because between this and then the top she spends 80% of season 2 in, it's like she is fighting for her life. Like,
they set her up for failure. They really did.
Yeah.
Well, I look at this fit and all I can see is like sweat. Like how much you'd be wrestling with this fit. You know what I mean? Like pulling the white jeans up, they look very tight and not comfortable. And then the shirt, obviously, gonna be MMA fighting that thing to keep your boobies in. So I just overall not a fan.
But I mean, aside from some cute Jarah B moments, we do get some very necessary exposition in the scene. We get, John B notices a painting in the study, and he's like, "Who's that?" And Sarah explains the backstory of Denmark Tanny and how he bought his freedom for a plantation, and was very significantly on the Royal Merchant. And John B's little beady ears are pricked. He's like, "The Royal Merchant, you say? Lots and lots of money, you say?" And then this kickstarts their little journey this episode, their little arc, which is kind of establishes their conflict, which is that Sarah has a little diary and an almanac of Denmark Tannies, but they were donated to the university. And so John B's like, "Well, we need to go there." And she's like, well, he says, "I need to go there." And Sarah's like, "I'm coming with you." And then that's that kind of kickstarts that little trip this episode.
Which, so if you have a note, this is kind of diverting for a second. I never noticed this. Would you like to talk about Ward Cameron's bookshelf?
I would. Because I never noticed it before either. I've rewatched this show like an embarrassing amount of times, but this is the first time I noticed it. There's a bunch of like books in the bookshelf, and the only titles that I can make out are Bounty, Hunter, Hunted, Prey, and my personal favorite, Attack. Just Attack.
Oh my god. Telling you immediately who Ward Cameron is. So Attack.
Funny. Yeah.
I want to know who wrote that for, because I'll read it.
What is that?
Add that on my Goodreads.
Ward Cameron was the OG. He was the OG grind set alpha male. He has like
he would call himself a Sigma for sure. Like he thinks he's above being an alpha male. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's the kind of person that his morning alarm says rise and grind, and he wakes up and eats, like a teaspoon of protein powder. He's like, "I'm going to do my morning journaling," except my journaling is me reading a book called Bounty.
Yeah.
Me reading a book about how to hunt.
You already read Attack earlier this week. I'm reading it again.
I need to learn how to be a real man. And I guess on first watch you probably wouldn't notice it, but on rewatch it's so fucking heavy-handed that can you guess who the killer is? Can you guess?
And there's like multiple of them. Like they reused some of the same books sometimes.
Are you telling me that Ward Cameron has Attack plural?
Attacks. And then this is just like the same. This is like the last little note, but this is basically what we've been saying with this entire episode. Madeline is such a good actress. She makes Sarah, I watch this scene and I'm like, I see why John B was quite literally willing to risk it all. You know what I mean? I'm like, she's very charismatic. Like she'd convince me to sugar mama her somehow.
I'd let her cheat on me.
Yeah, so really, is it a character flaw?
Is it a character flaw or is it a girl boss move? That is always the eternal question.
I'm going to go with girl boss. Just for Sarah Cameron. Yeah. Is anyone else? Maybe not.
So, I mean, obviously the last thing we've seen from Pope is that obviously Topper knows that he sunk the boat. Oh my god, we get this scene, my favorite scene of maybe the entire episode, which is at Hayward's general store. Pope goes outside and sees Topper fucking posturing at him from the window of his car. And we've all watched it, so we know what it looks like. But I think, and this is going to sound so mean, and I'm really, really, really sorry, Austin North. But Austin North has such a inoffensively handsome face that he isn't scary at all. His posturing is so fucking funny. It's just, he's like...
I see any men on the street and I will cross over on the other side. Like, I'll be scared of any man at nighttime when I'm walking by myself. But I think if I saw Topper Thornton in his Jeep looking at me that way, I'd laugh and feel safer than ever. I could kick that man's ass. That's what I think when I look at the scene. Like, I could beat you up.
I'd like
Agreed.
to.
Actually, would bring me joy.
Mm.
So much joy.
Please give me a chance.
We have this amazing Topper moment, and then Pope obviously gets very scared because he's like, oh shit, Topper knows that I was the one who sunk his boat. So he finds JJ. JJ is back in the backwards red baseball cap. Everyone say thank you, costume designers. And I think behind Peterkin, the red baseball cap is what I'm hoping will return from the dead. I think Peterkin and the red.
That's actually possible.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I will take any explanation. I would take, oh my god, my hat just washed up on this beach, even though we were stranded in the middle of a very, very, very large ocean. Like, I'll take it, please.
I think the red hat is in fanon about as much as, like, I would say there's more red hat appearances in Jarah fanfic than Jarah canons.
I think in probably, like, if you were sorting, like, AO3, the, like, amount, like, the most popular characters in Jarah fic, it would be Kiara, JJ, Redcap, John B. Redcap over John B.
Exactly.
But yes, we get JJ in this incredible baseball cap shooting at a teddy bear because of course he is. And yeah, and then Pope's like, oh my gosh, they know. And JJ has his iconic line. Let's say it together, gang. It's not going to sync up due to timings, but let's try and say it together.
Which one, though? There's two.
Deny.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll skip back and pretend we do that. All right, gang. Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
Deny. Right. Due to lagging, that was not in sync at all. But we'll pretend that it was.
That was gorgeous.
You're welcome. Pick up our Skype album dropping next week. Yeah. I mean, so if you have a really, really, really insightful note on this scene in particular.
Look, I've never professed to be a perfect person. I say GIF, and apparently that's a bad thing. But
No.
I won't apologize for thinking that JJ looks really hot with the gun. I have to speak my truth. I don't know what that says about me. I don't like it, but it is what it is, and whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
It potentially says more about us that I'm much more accepting of that than you saying GIF. Because, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree.
Jail for GIF. But JJ with the gun.
JJ.
Sorry, I get it.
That I can excuse.
I mean, I'm woman enough to, like, know that it's, like, mostly due to the fact that this is obviously in the backwards baseball cap as well. But, like, I don't know. There's something about, you know, a man and protecting his friends. You're like, stop.
You have an illegal firearm? Stop.
Oh my god, you'd wield it in protection of me? Stop.
You could shoot it in a crowded beach for no reason. Okay.
Sure.
Take me now. I'm sorry, why are we laughing at me? Of all the things that we've all said today, why was that the comment we laughed at?
It's just low-hanging fruit, Mia. I don't know.
The one time I show attraction to a man who's not 50 years old, this is the ridicule I get.
Or a vegetable.
Once I have sensible attraction to a normal man within a sensible age range, penalized.
No, we won't penalize you for the gun thing, though. Like, we get
Thank
it,
you.
you know?
This is a safe space.
Agree. We're all in the same boat with that one.
Yeah.
Also, so I'm finally, I mean, I skimmed over these, but respectfully, fuck you for the note that you put for that also. Like,
yeah, see, this is another thing that clicked with this rewatch. I don't know why it didn't click before, but I've always been pretty interested in trying to like psychoanalyze why the fuck JJ is so obsessed with a gun. And you know what? He doesn't know anything about protection. He's never felt protected a day in his life. So as soon as he has like anything that can give him any sort of stability or comfort, he's gonna use it not only to protect himself, but to protect his pogues. So they never have to feel how he's felt. And you know what? They're putting hearts up at me right now. That's what's happening on the Skype.
Yep. Heart.
So if we're gonna kick you out the Skype.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like, especially even later on when he pulls it on Luke. Like, it's very clear that this is like the first time he's ever felt like he could do anything to his dad. Ouchie poo poo. I don't like that at all. So moving on from that, there's no segue from that, but
yeah, we just have to move on.
anyways, so Shoupe goes and finds Peterkin to tell him about the men that they found murdered, and obviously it's a big deal because doesn't she say it's like the first homicide they've had in like a really long time or something like that, or ever. And I wrote this note. I would love thoughts because I have very mixed feelings on Shoupe, especially on rewatch, especially at season 2. But like season 1 Shoupe, I feel like he wasn't like they weren't. I was gonna say I don't know what they were gonna do with him, but I don't think they were gonna do anything with him. Like I think he was just kind of a cop, just kind of the deputy. But like, does he actually believe truly that a 16-year-old boy is involved in the first homicide in the county in so many years, and it's like a brutal homicide, who like got dumped in the ocean? Like, does he actually think John B could be a suspect?
I don't know. Soph, do you have any thoughts on this? I'm not sure.
Like, I really don't. It seems so ridiculous, right? Like, yes, this 16-year-old child definitely, like, brutally murdered these 2 grown men, and then also had the resources to dump their bodies in the ocean. Like, and also had like the foresight to like plan out this. We all know John B doesn't have any foresight whatsoever. Like, that's not gonna happen. It's no way would he plan out a murder like this. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck Shoupe is doing in season 1. I think he's just trying his best, and his best isn't very good. And I think he gets better in season 2. I like him in season 2.
I agree. I mean, I definitely like him better in season 2, but even rewatching it, I'm like, what? Like, what are your motivations here? But I do think that when it kind of boils down to like Shoupe's character, it's all about his loyalty to Peterkin. Like, I do think above all else, he really, really cares about Sue, and he wants to solve the murder. And I guess at the time, like, a 16-year-old boy was like the best option. I don't fucking know. But anyway. Mixed feelings on Shoupe, and that's what I have to say about that.
I mean, I too relate, because I too would also do anything for Peterkin. But, you know, this is a Peterkin stan account. R.I.P.
So I had, like, you know, really in-depth thoughts about, like, Shoupe's character, and then Mia.
Would you like to share?
Yeah. What did you think about the scene, Mia?
So again, I'd like to reiterate that I make my notes separately and then I copy and paste them into the doc, and I usually do that after Alex has copied hers. So the only note I had on the scene was Shoupe really walks Shoupe really walks with his hips. So, he's kind of got a bit of a sway going on in that like wide shot when he's walking towards our office.
Swivel.
Like he's kind of really giving his all into it. And again, that was just kind of what I noticed on first watch. So, like he kind of really does.
That runway.
I read this note while I was in between, like, helping this woman deliver a baby. Like, we were about to go in and help her push, and I read, Shoupe really walks with his hips at the nurse's station, and I started giggling, and my nurse was like, what? I was like, don't worry about it. So we're in this lady's room, and it's one of those where, like, you remember something funny from earlier, and you're trying not to laugh because it's really an inappropriate time. So I'm helping her deliver her child, and all I'm thinking is, Shoupe really walks with his hips.
I mean, he kind of does. Okay, everyone go, please. I implore you. If there's one thing I implore you to do in this episode, is go back, find this scene. I don't have a timestamp for you, but it's the scene where Shoupe talks to Peterkin. There's just a shot where he's walking to
you need to know is the scene where Shoupe is walking with his hips. Look.
You'll just see, there's a shot where he's walking towards, I'll make a gif of this. I'll release a gif set with this episode.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting. Because there's another
Mia picking on Pope for the way that he dives into the water.
And I'll get into this because later on I'll get into this later this episode, but I'll make a gift set and it'll come with Sarah's terrible outfit. It'll come with Shoupe kind of serving on the runway, serving runway model realness, and then Pope's belly flop of a dive off top of the boat. Anyway, I mean, this is, I think, a really good example of 3 people making notes separately then putting them together, because Alex's note was about, you know, I wonder what Shoupe's position is in season 1. Mine is Shoupe's kind of slaying, and 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 then Soph and then Soph is.
Well, what I thought was interesting about this scene is that on the coroner's report that Shoupe gives Peterkin, you can see that the date is apparently July 19th, 2019. And it's just, I could do an entire fucking essay on this timeline and how screwed up it is. But it's not 2019. That's all I'm going to say. It's just not.
Italian Sarah's essay on the fucking Outer Banks timeline, which this is my thing. We said this, I think, 2 episodes ago. They have a script and continuity department, and no offense if you're listening to this episode by some crazy, you're getting paid too much for your job. Because how hard is it to change the year on a prop you're using?
At one point, we'll get both Soph and Sarah on, and I think you'll both just yell about timelines and continuity.
I'm gonna get a whiteboard and like a thing, and I'm just gonna like have the entire timeline mapped out here.
Yeah, Sophie's gonna turn her computer screen. I'll just be a wall. So shout out again, Sarah, we love you and your multiple thousand word Outer Banks meta doc. We love you all. And Outer Banks, do better.
Please.
Just read
get the year right. Just the year.
Yeah, so those were our 3 different opinions on the same scene. Talk about diversity of thought. But and then we move on from this scene about murder to John B and Sarah and their little love bubble. They're trying to get to Chapel Hill, but they've just missed the boat. Shame on poor them. Manage your time better, I guess. And John B tries to get them onto a tugboat, but fails because he can't smooth talk his way into it. So then Sarah grabs 2 yellow raincoats, sneaks them on, and they hide out in, I believe, the boiler room of the boat to get in. And may I say, while we're here, the cinematic parallels of John B and Sarah and JJ and Kiara and boiler rooms of boats. Hello, come on.
I can't do this today.
It's
like it was written.
The lack of subtlety, I love them for it. I really do. I do. Don't be subtle. Give me all the Jarah B, GR parallels, and I'll eat them up right out of your hand.
You can't count on the Pates to get the year right, but you can count on them to have these parallels here. And you know what? I'll take it. I will take it.
If there's one thing we've learned from Ward Cameron's bookshelf is that the Pates will be on the nose, and we will be eating it up with a soup spoon. So I know, Pates, I know we were just cursing your name about 3 seconds ago, but thank you, Pates. But yeah, so they have a moment, a very sweaty moment on the ship where John B peels off his shirt. Again, I mean, this bothers me. They're so, I don't know, maybe it's just the way he's just, the hairlessness of John B bothers me. Maybe this is just a me thing, but he like peels off his shirt and he's completely smooth. And I'm like, that is like a seal.
Me as anti-seal, heard it here first.
No.
Oh my God.
Hashtag body hair. Hashtag bring back the braided armpits.
Hashtag John B is Florida.
Yeah, and you can quote that. But yeah, I mean, they have a little chat here. But yeah, I mean, Alex, I think this is a good point to maybe, I know we talked a little bit about this. I don't really know if you have anything left to say, but maybe we can discuss your Jarah B thoughts. I know we've already touched on it, but...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing. I think that it's not even really their fault. It's just that with the ships that have consumed rotted my brain in the past, like, Stydia was my first, big Tumblr. I was into it. I was following along ship. So I think that set me up for failure because at this point, if I'm like not ending a ship writhing on the floor, begging for the sweet release of death because I just need them to be together and it's taking them so long, I want to die and then murder them, I'm not interested anymore. Like, I really lose interest so fast. And I think especially, it's kind of what we talked about before. Jarah B is the perfect example of what happens when you put ships together so fast, because they know that they're going to lose audience interest, which in reality, maybe not. But, like, then it leads to plot lines like fucking Topper. And it's just like, they have to create drama somehow. So characters like Topper Thornton get to stay 3 fucking seasons and break them up, and then they get back together. So I think I just get bored, and I really hate breakup plot lines, like a whole lot. So knowing that ships who get together this quickly kind of like rely on breakup plot lines, I don't know. Also, John B in general, I think Fan and Jarah B, incredible. I will eat up Fan and Jarah B every day of my life. and I'll eat up Fan and John B, but like John B's just not like the most selfless guy, especially when it comes to when Sarah like enters the chat with the pose or whatever. So that's just my 2 cents. I don't like breakup plot lines. I don't like ships that aren't really slow burn. So that's probably why. Because like honestly, I mean like you guys think that Jarah B's endgame, right? Like
They have to,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they'll break up a billion times beforehand, but they have
Right.
to end it together, which
Yeah.
is annoying.
So, like,
You're right.
how many different versions of a breakup can you do? You know what I'm
That
saying?
is true. And how many of them
I
involve
love
Topper
people
Thornton?
break- Yes. I think they have
Too many.
great chemistry and they can be really cute sometimes. They just sometimes I'm like, this could be a GR right now. Like you're just taking up my screen time, but I'm also a hater first and foremost. So I understand that this is just like a me problem. It's not even a them
If it's
problem.
one thing Alex is a hater. To be fair, I think I actually do understand that. I think for me, it's just because I think, like I've said 100 times, I think I do think that, especially in season 1, Chase and Madeline have such good chemistry that I think I'm very eager to look over a lot of their issues, like the fact that they get together so quickly and they go through such a tumultuous time. I do think their chemistry was like maybe peaked here. I think they were I just think they're very sweet this episode. I think they got on quite well. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, stop. I mean, obviously, hashtag Chaselin is over now. RIP Chaselin. So keep it together, guys, for season 3. I'm looking forward to it because otherwise your chemistry is the only thing that makes this ship bearable.
Yeah, I agree. Because I don't know. I think when it's just like breakup plot lines, it's like I know that they're in game. So when they do have these tumultuous times and they break up, it's just like feels like a waste of time. Because I'm like, you guys are just biding time until you get back together again. So I don't. I'm bored. You know, that's just me.
That is true. Soph, any thoughts?
I mean, I think y'all hit like all the stuff. I agree with both of you. Basically, just the only thing I have to add is that I think the best thing about Jarah B is that they get to be the main romance so that Giara can be like the superior side romance. And I think that's pretty great. So
Yes.
They allow the slow burn to happen.
Exactly. Anyways, those are our thoughts on Jarah B. Rip me apart in the comments. I understand. I'll get it. It's fine. So after the tugboat scene, it switches kind of back and we see JJ, Pope, and Kiara on the lawn where they're like he invites them to a movie. At one point, Key goes up to like vending to go get them Pepsis, which is the most unrealistic part about this scene is that they're Southerners and they're drinking Pepsi over Coke, but whatever. So she goes and gets the Coke. Rafe is excessively a freak in this scene. Like, I don't know what the hell he's doing. And he says, like, tell your boy we know what he did. And then she goes back and tells JJ and Pope she thinks this is the dumbest fucking thing she's ever heard, and they start panicking. And it's established that JJ did, in fact, bring the gun to this family picnic. Again, that's it's an interesting scene.
And that's what you missed on Glee.
And
I mean, thing is, what I'd love to discuss, and I think, Sophie, you've got some very good thoughts on this, I'd love to hear more about. So not to, tempt the Riara of it all, but Rafe, Kiara, what are our thoughts about what happened here? Because they do have familiarity with each other. And I think it's just interesting to figure where it comes from, I guess, because I think you could definitely, I think for me, I think it'll be plausible that they got to know each other just by Kiara being around at Sarah's house a lot during her coot year. Obviously, so Rafe was probably around, they got to know each other quite well. But I don't know, I feel like there might be, I don't know. So what are your thoughts? I think you've got some good thoughts.
I mean, I think that, yeah, basically what you said, that when Kiara was around Tanny Hill all the time, I think he was probably creepy towards her and maybe like even came on to her a little bit because he's a weirdo and, thinks he owns the world. So I feel like that's a pretty in character thing for him to do. But like, I don't know. I could also see Sarah like talking shit about him a lot, like to Key. Because I think Rose says it in season 2 where like he's been like fucked up for a while. So he's probably done like some weird shit in the past. And I could see like Sarah telling Key that. So I think that makes sense for Key to like automatically, as soon as he comes up to her, she's like not into it. She's like, get the fuck away from me. You're a freak. So yeah, I don't know. People who ship Riara scare me. I don't know what's going on with them. Like, I know that I think JJ is attractive with a gun, but You know what? I can't excuse Riara. That's a lot. That's a lot
No.
for me.
Yeah, this is not a Riara safe space. Sorry if you're a Riara, but
This is
also not
the
sorry.
most dangerous space you could be if you're a Riara. Like, stop listening right now, actually.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't know how
I
you got
think
here.
the first time I watched this scene, I very much read it as like, something happened here. I don't know. Like, do y'all think that there was. I don't think that they hooked up, but I could see some like flirting, or like when he was in her kook year, at least like went to the school. I mean, like they went to school together. Like, I remember the first time I heard those, I was like, oh yeah, like I could see that. I kind of buy that actually.
Yeah, me too. I definitely agree with Soap. Like, what a little freak. He's just a little, like, I mean,
He's
kudos
such
to
a-
Drew Starkey, because Drew Starkey, what a charismatic, lovely man who made this absolute, rat. So icky. Like, I'm just looking at him makes me feel ill. I'm like, ugh, Rafe.
Yeah, he's slimy for sure.
I
feel like I have to take a shower after when he like leans in and he's like, "Hey Kiara, how are you?" I'm like, bleh, ugh, some about it. I hate it.
I know, very icky.
Disgusting.
Also, on a mildly unrelated note, I think I do have to say, I think while I love Kiara's hair in season 2, hashtag the blonde highlights are everything, but I think, like, rewatching, I forgot how much, like, because Madison Bailey even, she's a beautiful woman. Like, we'll get that out of the way. But she looks so, ordinary is the wrong word, but she looks like so much like a plausible teenager in here. Like, her hair is, I mean, as a fellow semi-curly queen, like, her hair is so frizzy in the scene. And I'm like, oh my gosh, hashtag represent. Like, she just, like, her hair is kind of flat, it's a little bit frizzy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, girl. Like, I think that's sort of what, I think that, and this always happens with shows. Like, the first season, I think they probably looked their most realistic. Like, I remember in, obviously Teen Wolf, Stars and Scott plausibly look like little scruffy 15-year-olds, and then they both had their glow ups in later seasons, and I'm like, oh no, you look about 28. And I think Kiara underwent that as well a little bit in season 2, and even worse in season 3, because we've seen that promo where her hair is blonde, and I can't wait for them to be like, it's sun damage. I'm like, no, bring back brunette Kiara with her flat hair, love that for her. But speaking of Kiara is obviously, she relays this message to John B and no, not John B. John B is not here. To JJ and Pope, that's it. And she's like, what's going on? And we get the most incredible married Jarah banter of all time. Where, she's like, tell me to not bring the gun here, JJ. And she's like, I didn't bring the gun, all right? And she's like, wow, that's so convincing. I love that, JJ. I'm like, they're married. This is a couple who've been together for 15 years.
Yes. I will say, when I go, because I made the first like Kiara being done with the boys bullshit for 3 minutes that I made like after season 1. When I edited that, the amount, only half the season 2 video are Kiara scenes, because she like gets onto him the most, or just like makes fun of him the most. It's so disproportionate. I love it.
Yeah. Love is really stored in the banter, and we love that for them.
This scene is just so funny. Like, they're all the Pogue banter, and Key is like so annoyed with every single person she is interacting with in this scene. Rafe, Pope, JJ. She's so fed up. Like the entire time.
She is tired. Someone give this girl a break.
She just wanted to watch a movie. That's it. Drink some Pepsi for some reason.
I just think it's even funnier when she enters the scene being like, I'm so glad we finally got to do this. Aren't you glad that I asked you guys to come along? So relaxing. And then it's like the least relaxed that's been the whole season so far.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, they were not relaxed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Kiara really was here. Like, John B's voiceover in the first episode, like, we were just here to have like a good time all the time. That was Kiara's plan. Kiara was just trying to chill. And then these fucking boys around her just making drama.
For no reason.
Kiara, hashtag give Kiara a break, 2K23.
It's not gonna, she's gonna get the shit kicked out of her in season 3 if it's a Kiara-centric season, because look what they did to Pope and Sarah last season. So.
Woo! Can't wait. Yeah, so we have that incredible scene. Then we go back to the murder plotline, where Peterkin goes into the autopsy, and it is revealed, that they were not mauled by sharks like it perhaps looked, but it looked most likely that it was a big gaff hook. That's what caused the wounds. Yeah, so I mean, I think what this is implying here is that Ward straight up murdered a bitch. Or 2 bitches, should I say. Like, Ward just kebab them.
They never outright say it either, and they never talk about it again. But like, Ward murdered 2 men with a gaff hook.
I mean, because he was gonna try and, I mean, later in the season, he tries to like straight up murder John B with the same gaff hook, right, on the boat.
Yeah.
Like,
Ward has no chill. Yeah, I think it's never really explicitly mentioned, but I think this and then the shot at the end of the episode with a cloaked figure, menacingly unveiling the catbook. It's, I think, pretty much insinuated that he's the one who kebabed them. In which case, I may say, Ward kind of smart. Like he, he didn't just do he was like, I will make it look like sharks were eaten, or they were eaten by sharks. And like you kind of have to respect it.
A little bit. I'll give it to him. Which,
I mean,
honestly,
too bad the sharks didn't eat him. But okay.
I know, right?
Oh god.
They were slacking.
Gator 2.0.
Yeah. I want. Yeah, the real YouTube boxing match I want to watch is Ward Cameron x Shark. I want them to be in a rotisserie chicken style spin like John B and the alligator in the swamp. That is on my manifestations list, not the anti-manifestations list. I want season 3 to open with that. Ward and a shark wrestling.
Everything on the manifestations list. Jarah's not even on it. Like, it's just Ward fighting.
Yeah, that's all I want.
So, Sarah and John B get off the boat after they have almost died of heat exhaustion, looking so fucking crusty and gross. So they decide to go on a fun little shopping spree. We get a little montage, reminiscent of a rom-com that only a little bit made me be like, oh, Jarah B,
Just let it happen.
Just
give yourself over.
I'll let it happen in this scene. Like, it is so... this is the epitome of cheesy, but I kind of buy it in this scene. I'll be like, all right, it's a nice little break before the other folks get the shit beat out of them. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. This scene was so unnecessary, but I loved it. Like, there was absolutely no reason. Then I mean, I don't know. I mean, I maybe haven't been around many prestigious universities. I don't think there's going to be any university that kicks them out because they maybe look a little bit sweaty. But Sarah was like, no, we will go on a full shopping trip. And I respect the grind. Like, she was looking, like, in the same way, Soph, that you mentioned that she was ready for a Bonnie and Clyde moment, she was ready for that shopping montage. She was locked and loaded.
She's been planning this. She brought the credit card.
She's got a checklist. She's ready.
Yeah.
Rom-com tropes, we gotta hit them all.
Yeah. She saw John B and she was like, I know how to style that. So this is just an elaborate ploy for him to be a little Barbie. But they have a really cute little shopping montage where she, first of all, introduced him as her, I think, brother Jonathan, which we don't talk about enough because I know that all the like anti-Jarah JJ popes and stuff are always like, oh my gosh, Jarah has sibling energy. The real sibling energy was right in front of us.
The whole time. It's right there.
Oh god.
Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, she refers to him as her brother Jonathan, which I think is quite cute. Because I think we talk about this a little bit, that John B and John have such different energies.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Jonathan even more so.
Also, so ironic that you bring that up because it has the iconic, she literally says the iconic, like, relax, John B. It's not like I've never seen a boy in underwear before. I have a brother. Get your head out of the gutter, John B. What does that mean? Does that mean you've seen Rafe in underwear? Like, how recently? Why?
Also, like, you do have a boyfriend, Queen. Like, you probably have seen Topper in underwear before. Like, what?
Oh, well, she hasn't, because Sarah's a virgin.
I know, but I'm like, they're like constantly in swim trunks. I'm like, girl, why are you being so weirdly cagey about this? Like, you would live in the Outer Banks where you have spent 80% of your time in swimwear. You have seen shirtless boys before. Like, why is this become a big deal? Like, it's so funny to me the way she's immediately like, get your mind out of the gutter. Like, what?
Her mind is the one in the gutter. You know it. It. She's projecting hard there. Like, come on.
Yes.
Absolutely ridiculous. I think a point I picked up on, kind of irregardless of the shopping spree, was that it's casually dropped in here, I believe for the first time, that Ward grew up on the cut. I'm not sure how I feel about this. How do we feel about this, gang?
Poorly. I mean,
really bad.
Don't ask me because I still don't know about it. Which stuff, like, what do you think about it? Like, continuity-wise?
I mean, okay, well, continuity-wise. Continuity-wise, it's really fun. It gets fucked within, like, 2 seconds. Because then, like, right after that, she's like, oh, yeah, my dad went to this prestigious university, and so did his dad and his dad and his dad. So, like, it doesn't make sense. But, like, in terms of Ward and, like, developing his character, I think it's cool. I think it, like, adds an element of, like, why he's so willing to do, like, anything to keep the wealth that he has, because, like, he had to work for it, and, like, he knows what it's like to be without it. And I think it could also kind of be used as another way to see why there's such a rift between him and Rafe, Because like Rafe is like the spoiled rich kid. He grew up with all the wealth that Ward had to make. So he doesn't understand why Ward wants him to like have an actual work ethic and, you know, maybe be a good person. So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I wish they didn't immediately forget about it, but you know, could have been
It's
great.
interesting. Like we've talked about this, and it definitely will get hit on more when we go to season 2. But like Mike grew up on the cut, and apparently so did Luke. So I wonder, because I really, really, really do think they're gonna expand more on that with like Mike and Anna. So who knows if it's just gonna get dropped or if there's like some backstory to be had with like Ward interacting with like Mike, because like Mike's kind of entered into the kook scene also.
Yeah, can you imagine Mike, Luke, and Ward all going to school together at the same time? Like, ew.
No.
Gross. But actually, so that's a really interesting point, because I was about to be a complete hater about this, like a complete little rat hater, and be like, I hate this. Like, I hate that idea. But I think actually that's like a really, be like, I hate that. But I think that's actually a really interesting point you've brought up about like kind of this difference between Ward and Rafe. And I think it doesn't make any Ward any less of a psycho. Definitely not as much as Rafe, but Ward is also a little bit insane, considering, you know, he did just kebab 2 men with a gaff hook. Yeah. Let's not forget about the first degree murder that's just occurred. But yeah, I mean, I actually think that's really cool.
Continuity wise, it's a nightmare. Characterization wise, I kind of get what they were going for.
Yeah, a good summation.
I feel like that's a good way to sum up a lot of the show, to be honest.
Yeah.
Continuity wise, disaster. But character wise, I'm with it.
We'll take all the contradictory character details. We'll take them all. You know, we'll collect them on little gemstones, even if they completely cancel each other out. That's fine. We could just watch.
We'll
with
do all the work
teeth.
of trying to put them together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we have Soph. Yeah, that's why we have Soph and Sarah to do all the heavy lifting for you.
Like I want to be like completely obliterating the Pates and their ability to make this show, but then if they were to ever to listen to this, they're probably like, we're inflating their egos so much right now because we're like, wow, that was genius of them to do, even though they didn't mean to do that, and like, or that was genius of them to do, like that was really good characterization. They probably like, we didn't fucking even think about that.
Yeah, actually, Pates, if you're listening to this, we know that this was all accidental. We know that none of this was on purpose.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't even try to take credit for any of this.
Any gold you stumbled across, that was our doing. You just planted the seeds.
Us.
And then we have Sophie made a great point about John B squeezing his own ass in the scene. Peak John B.
He's right. He looks good. I mean, I'll give it to him. Whatever. Go ahead.
Go off, King.
Yeah. Like, if you got it, flaunt it.
Oh yeah. So there's a moment where Sarah is like talking to John B about why she like is even here in the first place, and she's talking about how she doesn't really like being a kook because it's like super fake, and she feels like she lives in bubble wrap. And then he's like, well, I could use some of that bubble wrap, and she says, be careful what you wish for. And that just like really hit me really hard during this rewatch, knowing that at this point in like the end of season 2, where we are right now, the Pogues have lost so much because they're trying to get the bubble wrap basically. And I don't know, I think that's the most interesting theme in this show, and I really hope that the Pates do something with it in season 3, because I feel like they're kind of setting it up. So I don't know. I hope. Don't fuck it up. Please.
Fingers crossed. Because I agree. Yeah. It kind of hurts.
We're on bended knee at this point.
Too hard.
Please.
Yeah.
Please don't fuck this up.
He's fine.
But yeah, so then while John B and Sarah are having a little fashion show moment, they're really channeling Shoupe here with a little catwalk strut. We cut back to the Pogues, watching their silly little movie. And then, you know, obviously we've got Topper glaring holes into the back of their head with his very smooth, vacuous mannequin face. And then, of course, you know, their plan is just stick together and it'll be fine. But then, of course, a little Killjoy Pope is like, I have to pee. So he and JJ go pee together. There's a great line about Pope saying, this is better than a blowjob. And JJ saying, you wouldn't know what that feels like. And Pope's like, this is better than what I imagine a blowjob to feel like. And then, of course, because Rafe, Kels, and Topper can never have a day off, they then confront them behind the screen, jump them, there's a little fight, and of course our queen, Miss Kiara Carrera, is the one to save the day. What are our thoughts?
So many. For one, I think this scene, all I can think of now is maybe that JJ Popanon was right, and the carnal act of peeing is more than I give it credit.
The
You know,
inherent
it was
romanticism of
about
peeing
the
next to
act.
each other.
It's not about the pee, Mia. It's about the act. And then also in the fight, it's not funny, but it made me laugh so hard. He goes, fascist asshole, and then gets chucked to the ground like so hard by Rafe. And just that sequence of events is so funny to me for no reason. Like she yells it and he full on picks up her body and throws her on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
I think especially because Kiara is like 80% hair, so it's just this huge mane of curls that you just kind of see just fly, and everything's like silhouetted, and it's honestly incredible. And then a quick little shout out, I must say, this scene visually gorgeous. Like I love that they like filmed it with like the black and white film. I mean, I don't know why you're in 2020 and you're watching a black and white movie in black and white. Come on, get with the times. But this scene was gorgeously shot. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on the scene?
I mean, there are a lot of iconic lines here. We didn't talk about maybe the best line in this entire episode. I'm sorry, Magic gets cancer and dies. But Alex, you mentioned this one, and I think I need to hear you say it, please.
When she's like, where are you guys going? And Jay's like, we gotta ring it out. And she looks them dead in the face, doesn't even laugh, and goes, what are you gonna hold it for each other? Comedic gold. That is actually so funny. Every time I
like
watch
comedy
it,
was
I'm like,
invented there. She absolutely dead bad. She is so sick of these boys' shit. Like Soph mentioned, she's just here to have a fun night. She's just here to watch a movie. And of course they bring their fucking drama with them. And she's like, no, I'm not having this nonsense. I'm gonna enjoy my silly little movie. And you can go pee. Get jumped. I don't care.
what are you gonna hold it for each other?
But yeah, so I think there's, the big old fight. I think Kiara is the brains of the operation because she's the one when she comes, sees a fight, she obviously tries to attack, and then as Alex mentioned, gets absolutely bodied to the ground. Like literally probably the earth shatters when she lands because she lands with such force. And then she like crawls over to JJ's bag, sees the gun, but doesn't pick it up. Instead, she sets fire to the screen, which sends them all running. Now, I've said this. Kiara is the brains of the operation, and this was so slay of her. However, would I have also paid an obscene amount of money to see her hold crusty Rafe at gunpoint? Yes. I would have spent a reckless amount for that to happen.
No, so much money. And also we get the, like, when that's all happening, which we already talked about this, but I give them so much shit about their filming choices, but, like, the actual silhouetted fight against the movie screen is so nice. But then Kiara screaming, of course, my little pea brain picks out Kels let go of JJ.
Oh my god. I mean, again, Alex and I have sort of been talking about this throughout the episodes, but like, I don't think it's really addressed how all these people are literally willing to murder each other, like at the drop of a hat. Like
teenagers, they're actually gonna choke each other out. Like, and it's not just murder; it's like they want to choke each other every time.
Yeah, it's so. I'd say it's weirdly Freudianly sexual, but like it's like a weird thing. Like they were willing. I'm pretty sure Topper was gonna fucking kill Pope if Kiara hadn't been a girl boss slay and stepped in. Like generally, he was about to suffocate the man. So.
It's like that meme where it's like, if I had a nickel for every time that Sarah gets choked out in season 2, I'd have 2 nickels. But like, kind of weird that it happens twice, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Twice.
Yeah.
By family members too.
Or it's like these boys.
What is it without Outer Banks choking?
Yeah, these boys are always just at the brink of murder at any point. Like murder's always their first. That's always their first plan. It's like if anything, something's wrong, they're like, right, we'll resort to murder. They are about 30 seconds from killing each other at any given moment.
I just want to rant about how much I want to see Key like actually punch someone because I'm pretty sure she hasn't. I didn't look back and like look through all the episodes, but like she throws some little punches at Topper's like shoulder as she's on his back, and she slaps Rafe later. She kicks Barry at some point, but like I want to see a punch to the face. Like I want to see some actual fighting. The only one is from the girls in general. Oh yeah, I love that.
That was good.
I love that. That's the most she's gotten her hands dirty is like brutally like clocking him. That's right. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
That was so good. No, Kiara deserves to punch someone in the face.
Right, and I hope it's Rafe. I really hope it's Rafe. It has to.
Me too. Yeah.
In season 3.
It's just,
let it happen.
It's what she deserves. Hashtag let Kiara punch Rafe 2K23.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my god, I'll sign that petition so fucking fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Sarah too. Let her punch people too. She like hasn't really fought anyone. And please
Let
the
these girls be
draw
feral.
blood.
Like, I know we talk a lot about how the boys are always about 30 seconds away from murder. The girls should be too. The girls deserve a little bit of murder as well, like as a little treat.
Yeah.
They deserve to almost kill someone as well.
Yeah. I think
agree.
I'd be a lot more okay
Fully
with it if it was the girls.
Yeah.
Like they didn't mean to, Your Honor. They had their reasons.
It's what we were saying about, like, is it a terrible, heinous crime, or is it being a girl boss?
You be the judge.
Sorry, Your Honor. She was just being a girl boss.
She was just being unbearably sexy. You can't blame her. But yeah, love the scene. No notes, except wanted to see Kiara clock a bitch. And yeah, Kiara does save the day as always. You know, it must be so exhausting to carry the show on her shoulders the way she does. You know, like she must be exhausted.
We've said this no less than 3 times, but she is the Hermione of the group in that they would simply no longer be living if it wasn't for her.
100%. Between her like throwing the net on the boat in episode 1 and her everything else is leaving my mind, but she's done other good things.
She's like, just a girl boss.
I just know it. Just believe me.
Yeah. Sources, trust me.
My source, just trust me, bro.
Yeah, she's great and we love her. And then we go back from that very intense scene of, you know, the Pogues nearly dying to back again, Sarah and John B's little shopping shtick. Although they're not shopping anymore, they have dressed up to the nines. Sarah's in a brand new swanky outfit, and John B is in his little barbershop quartet suit, pinstripe suit. Which, may I say, I don't think we didn't talk about this in the scene when it happened, but there was a point where he came out without a shirt in the suit, like it was just the suit jacket. And I mean, we know how passionately I feel about John B and the one button, but I genuinely was like, I'll admit, I was a little devastated when he walked out and he had the shirt on. I was like, this feels out of character. Where's that smooth, unnaturally hairless chest?
Like, for a moment, I really thought that his fit he was going to walk into UNC Chapel Hill with was just the blazer. I, fully would have believed that, and I think that's a problem.
And I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get it. But that's fine. But yeah, so they go into Chapel Hill. They go into the university that poor board growing up in the cut apparently attended with his father and his father's father and his father's father's father. But, you know, it's okay. We're fine about that.
Sure.
And then they have a little peruse through Denmark Tanny's things, where they learn that he had 3 sons and lots of gold. And they find his last correspondence written on the day that he was hanged. And John B just happens to know that it's in Gullah, the language. Now, how do you know that? How on earth do you know that, John B?
If I saw Gullah on the street, I wouldn't know. Like, even honestly, I look at languages like, actually, no. I'm not going to give examples. I'm going to sound like a actual fucking idiot, so I'm not going to do that. But
I will give examples. I mix up French and Spanish. Like if I see any language that isn't English, I'm literally so stupid. I'm like, what is that? The fact that John B knows it's this like really, I'm assuming quite niche Creole language. Like what? John B. This is what I mean. He really has that range when it comes to intelligence. He has like selective intelligence.
I guess if you're playing devil's advocate, maybe Big John was kind of like in tune to that because he was looking for the merchant and knew it had something to do with Denmark Tanny, but like also no, they weren't thinking that hard about it. John B's just a genius for this one scene.
Like, I mean, they say next episode that like he did learn about it in school, so maybe that just like stuck for whatever reason. I mean, I don't remember half the shit I learned in school, but yeah, that's the thing that he remembered. He was like, oh shit, that's cool. Let me just remember this secret language that no one uses anymore. Got it. Cool.
Yeah. I'll buy it. Sure. So we have, you know, we learn a little bit. But we do, I mean, you know, because we get all the plot stuff, you know, hashtag boring. But we do get some John B. Sarah development. And Alex, you've made a great point here that Sarah is in fact cheating on Topper here, which I highly agree with. I mean,
she's cheating. Like, it's just what it is. So,
no thoughts.
Those are my thoughts. And again, we've talked about this before, but I just don't understand what the problem with breaking up with Topper would be. Like, why can't she just break up with Topper?
Yeah, it's just like, I was honestly really, because I know we've kind of talked about how, because I think I've gone back and rewatched season 1 so rarely, and I think the Sarah that I have in my mind is like the season 2 Sarah, who's obviously developed a long way. And I do think before and after Parcel 9, I keep saying Parcel 9, but I don't think that's true. Is Parcel 9 the episode, the Kiara Sarah resolution episode?
Yes.
I think. Yeah. So I think before, like post and pre Parcel 9 Sarah are like almost 2 different Sarahs in my head.
Yeah.
Like, And I think I've like in my head, the Sarah that I'm like, you know, the Sarah I love is the post Parcel 9 Sarah. But I do forget about pre Parcel 9 Sarah. And I think, and I know it's kind of been established that she is sort of like a serial cheater and she cheats on every boyfriend. But I remember in my rewatch, I was surprised by how forward she was because she pretty much tells John B to kiss her, which John B doesn't do. You know, I mean, he does. I was going to say kudos to him, but he does at the end of the episode. So, you know, not so much. Yeah, I was like surprised by how bold she was, considering she's still in a full relationship. So, yeah. So
one that John B also like knows about.
Yeah, I'm like John B. Like Sarah is notoriously taken. Like she's infamously taken by the guy who held a gun to her head. Like why is this, you know, a fire you're playing with? But I think Sophie's got a really good point here about you know, making one of the main female characters a cheater. I thought that was a very interesting point.
So, I mean, like, I think this is just another point where you remember that the show is written by men and only men, and they've never seen a woman or met a woman or talked to a woman. Because like they made the main female character, or one of the main female characters, a serial cheater, and then the other main female character is basically, at least in season 1, like the main thing about Kiara is that John B likes her and then Pope likes her, and that's like kind of it in season 1. And it's just like, it's so disappointing. And I know that they do their best in season 2 to kind of retcon that and make them more interesting. And I think for the most part they do succeed. But this foundation is rough. It's really rough.
Yeah, I know us, like season 1, Kiara and Sarah stands in the trenches for real. Like it's just, I think, because it does just kind of suck. We've talked at length about how much we just don't like the fact, I think because like, I mean, as much as I am not a Pokey stan at all, like in fact, I'd go on record and say that I'm a bit of a Pokey hater. Pokey, I can, you know what, I'll excuse Pokey, but I think the John B Kiara thing absolutely contributed nothing to season 1 at all. I think we mentioned this, but it could have been cut and absolutely no ramifications. But yeah, I think it's just such a, I don't know, it is a little disappointing that obviously we have the Kiara of it all, and then Sarah is like, you know, so fine with cheating on Topper. And you know, granted, Topper is not a good man. You know what I mean? Like he, you know, like if anyone deserves to be cheated on, it's Topper Thornton and a smug little face. Like if there's anyone who is gonna get cheated on, it's gonna be him. But having said that, kids, don't cheat on your partners. Like
don't do that, guys.
No, why would you do that? Stop. Yeah, I think I can conclude that with your final words, Soph, which is I'm begging the Pates to get one woman in the writing room, just one. And yes, I agree.
We said this before, but I think it's, I don't know what it is. The Pates, for as much as they don't write Sarah very well in season 1, they really do in season 2. And just the way that they like her, the Pates love Sarah. I don't know what it is, but like that's just the vibe that I get. So I don't know, like Mia kind of touched on it, but she feels like a different character. Kind of like there's pre-Parcel 9 Sarah and then there's post-Parcel 9 Sarah, and those are like two different individuals.
And then, of course, just to round off the scene, we have the beginning, or not the beginning, we sort of get the extension of the Val/Vlad thing. We get the little phone call secret thing. Now, okay, you know what? Potentially hot take. I thought this was kind of cute. I mean, aside from the part where Sarah's like, you should kiss me, or like, you don't know, he doesn't know when to make a move. I'm like, Sarah, you are taken. Up until that point.
She says that and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I misheard that, right? But yeah, I mean, you know what? I thought this little spy role play, I thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah, that's a hot take.
Listen, my bar for cringe is high.
Yeah, I think it's also something about how poorly they do the accents makes it more cringe.
Ooh, yeah.
For me,
that's really rough.
Actually, they didn't need to do accents at all, but it's like, especially Sarah's for some reason. I watched that scene and I'm like, this is what it is, you know?
Yeah, because I think John B is American, I think, but Sarah goes Russian. And I was like, oh, Sarah, baby girl, what are you doing?
Wait, I think Sarah might go French and John B goes Russian.
They do something. They take on
weird.
vaguely European accents, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's not
so,
good.
Cringe or cute? Weigh in.
I think, you know what? I've been defending them a lot, and this is my time to say that I think this part is cringe. I do not like this part.
Agreed.
I really don't.
Ejected from the spectacle.
I hate the part where she like starts talking about John B to John B. And she's like, he does finger guns way too often. And we've never seen him do finger guns.
Okay, you know what?
Maybe one time John B has done a finger gun.
Actually, you know what? I'll concede that point. That point was a little cringe. I think the part where he goes, like, he sounds like a smooth operator, and she goes, no, he's not. And he, like, hangs up the phone. I'm like, you know what? That's kind of fun. But, like, actually, now that you're saying that, I remember going, I think the finger gun thing kind of bothered me as well, because I'm like, what? He hasn't done that.
I don't know why that bothered me so much, but it just did.
Character continuity. That's what we'll go with.
John B doesn't do finger guns. Wow. The pate's letting us down again.
Once more. So after this, we go back to the Outer Banks. It's like Shoupe goes straight from the Thorntons after they're like, yeah, press charges, where Key, JJ, and Pope are at Hayward's, and Shoupe arrests Pope. JJ takes the fall. I am hurt and shook. There's a lot to unpack here, and we are.
There's so many.
The episode is so long, and it's about to be even longer because. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I would first like just before we get into the feralness, I would like to throw in my 2 cents that the way that Topper finds out that it was Pope and JJ who stole the boat is because they have like CCTV footage, and there is a still that they found of Pope diving off the boat, except Pope's now I'm no diver. But Pope, the man is belly flopping. I'm so sorry. It is the worst. I'll make the gift set. He'll have Sarah's ugly outfit. It'll have Shoupe strutting like his life depending on it, and have Pope fucking belly flopping off top of Thornton's boat. Because it is
bad.
Heinous, and it made me burst out laughing when I watched it. And I just wanted to throw that in before we went absolutely unhinged with this now series of events.
Yeah.
Thank you for hearing me out on this point.
You're welcome, because it was a point that needed to be made.
Thank you.
You're right.
First of all, this is just like, I don't know. I think that when we got into that argument the other day, or discussion in the group chat about when did you start loving JJ, this was a lot of people's turnarounds, and this was mine. This was definitely where I flipped my switch with him.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, do you think also the way that JJ kind of reacts to it, do you think there's a part of JJ that assumed Pope would not let him go through with it?
I know. Sophie just put her head in her hands, and I agree.
I can't do this.
I know.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Listen, I think about this because the way that he looks at Shoupe and is like, you know where I'm from, and then looks back at Kiara, looks very sad. I don't know. Part of me is like, I wonder if he thought Pope was not going to let him do it. Or at least put up more of a fight. I don't know.
Mm. I think especially because at the end, or not the end, but I think there's a point where like Shoupe then turns to Pope to like, as in being like, is this the truth you're going with? And then Pope says, yeah, he did it. It's like the final nail in the coffin. It's like that, like that's JJ's like sentence. And I remember watching that and being like, I know that JJ was obviously the one who offered himself up, but as I watched, I was like, that felt like a punch in the face. Pope kind of going without, like, I mean, here's the thing. I'm Pope apologist, except for the last 2 episodes, which we'll talk about in the last 2 episodes, because
yes,
1x10 Pope is, we pretend he doesn't exist. But for the most part, I am a Pope apologist. I do love Pope, I have to say. But this was a moment where I was like, because he doesn't really put up much of a fight at all. He kind of, at one point, he kind of goes like, JJ, what are you doing? JJ goes, I'm telling the truth. And that's it. Like, Pope kind of doesn't really fight anymore. And I'm like, oh, Pope, like, you know,
well, and
like,
it's
you
so
went
sad
easy.
because it's like in that moment, Pope almost like agrees with him. When you get down to it, it's like Pope has a life and like college and dreams and like he's going to get out of Kildare. But JJ like genuinely believes he's never going to get out of Kildare. And Pope like not really putting up a fight. Like when JJ's like, you have too much to lose, I have nothing to lose. Pope's like agreeing with him. Like, he's like, yeah, that's correct. Like, my college pursuits do kind of mean more than your permanent record in this moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't let my friend do that. But
no, I kind of
love
agree.
Pope. I really, really do. I love Pope. Like, hear me now. But I would not let my friend do that.
No, I agree. I think it almost, I mean, yeah, when you word it like that, I'm just sad. Because it almost does
Really
feel like
sad.
in that moment, Pope is like, yeah, my future is worth more than yours. And it's just a bit like, Pope, no.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, like I can see a lot of people, I can see why people would be hit and miss until JJ until this point. And I was honestly the same. I think I've talked about a little about how last episode, the part with him in the like shipyard, with him kind of like tricking the guy. Like that was when I was like, oh, I like JJ a lot. But this is when I was like, yes, okay, this is good. Because I think also this is sort of, I mean, because the episode ends, or like the last JJ scene in this episode is him in the cell, in like the holding cell, like smiling. And this is, I think, I'm pretty sure, I mean, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the episode before we meet Luke. So this is almost the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the beginning of the establishing of JJ's home life. And I think that is like, in the same way, I think there's like a pre-Parcel 9 Sarah and a post-Parcel 9 Sarah. I think it's definitely less, I think they've done it, I think they did it much better with JJ. But I think there's definitely like a shift in JJ before we learn about his home life and after we learn about his home life. And I think this is like the turning, like almost the fulcrum of it. And I think it was done excellently. Oh, it is. I'm eating up this angst with a spoon and crying into my cereal as I do it.
I didn't know there was going to be an abuse plotline, I guess, but I had my suspicions as soon as JJ looks at Shoupe and is like, you know where I'm from? And Shoupe is like, yeah, I do. Oh, it's terrible.
So what were your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, to weigh in on the whole Pope thing, I don't know. I don't blame him. I really don't. I think he's just like so scared in this moment. And like we know that Pope isn't like as good as lying as JJ is. And like his entire life is the merit scholarship. And I don't know. I feel like it would be a little better if Pope, like after the fact, had said even just once to JJ that like he appreciated it. Like, because I don't think there's ever a moment where Pope acknowledges that he really just did that for him. Like, I mean, I guess there's the hug in the next episode, but I don't know.
No, but then like a few episodes, I think it's 7. Well, I think it's 7 later where JJ's like on the verge of tears and he's like, Pope, I took the fall for you. And Pope's like, I never asked you to do that. Like, oh, ouch.
Okay, yeah. So that totally
that was where my Pope apologist, that's where I nearly did not become a Pope apologist. That's where my loyalty wavered a little bit. I was like, Pope, why did you say that?
Yeah, like, holy shit, man. Which I do agree with Soph. Like, I think character-wise, Pope does kind of freeze up in moments of high stress. So I get it. But I think you didn't fight very hard to, like, make JJ not do that. And I don't know. Lots of layers, weird layers to the scene.
I think also it's like, the worst part is like it's almost understandable. Like I can understand why Pope wouldn't, because I think obviously this wasn't necessarily Pope's idea to do this. I mean, granted, he didn't have to have much convincing to be like, yeah, let's sink Topper's boat. But I think, you know, it wasn't his. I think he's been, from the very first episode, he's been like, guys, this like treasure hunt we're going on, it can't mess with my merit scholarship. This is all I've really got going for me. So I can see why he would let JJ take the fall from him like that. And I can see why he'd be like, you know, but yeah, I think I honestly completely forgot about Pope's line until you mentioned that, Alex. And now I'm like, oh, Pope, you know, like you said, it's just so layered and it's so complex, because it's like, I can so understand all of their rationing here, but it doesn't make it any less sad. And yeah.
Well, because then
that was my strong finish.
Like, I see what you're saying though, with like Pope is like, this can't mess with my merit scholarship. But then it's like, yeah, but this isn't even about the treasure. Like, this is something Pope chose to do.
That is true.
This is Pope's decision. Like, Pope was the one who sunk the boat. But, oh, it's hard. Yeah. But, and then if we're just strictly speaking about this episode, I can understand. But like we said, then you get into the whole, I never asked you to do that line. And that kind of makes it a little, ugh.
Anyway, time to talk about the Jarah of it all. So would you like to take the reins on this one? Talk about your JJ. You've got a lot of good JJ thoughts on this.
I have way too many JJ thoughts in general. Ooh, shit. Okay. Ooh, I want to talk about Rudy Ponco, because he kills it here, and I love his acting here. It's so good. Like, I don't know. I love how you can see that he's like on the verge of tears the entire time. And I think you can see that there is like some real fear from JJ, partially because he's like worried for Pope, and also just because maybe he's also worried that like, oh my God, I am going to end up exactly how everyone says I'm going to end up. And this is like the start of it. But like, even despite all of that fear, like you can also tell that he's like trying to put on this act of like being really sure of himself so he can sell the lie. And if that doesn't sum up JJ's character, I don't know what does. Like, even despite all of his own fear, he's still like putting on this brave face for Pope and for, the Pogues in general. And I love it so much. Rudy Ponco, what the fuck? I can't. Where's the Emmy?
Yeah, he is so good. Also, not to be absolutely insane and unhinged, but something about him with a busted lip.
Oh my god.
And a scratch on his neck.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm glad this was met with resounding approval, because yes.
No judgment here whatsoever, because same. I don't know. It's also like you said, the acting, but like the way that's what I'm saying about the whole Pope thing is like his face to me looks like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm taking the fall for him. I'm going to save him right now. And then Pope just says like, yeah, it was him, and JJ's face is just kind of like, he looks like he's about to cry.
Yeah, that's the moment where I feel like he's about to lose it, and you can tell, but he still like keeps it. Oh god.
And he was like,
he looks back at Kiara.
Oh, too good. And it's just like, I don't know, it's like he almost looks resigned. Like, he's like, yeah, I guess this is what it is now. And I'm not sure. I'd be interested to hear both your thoughts on this. I mean, because I don't know if he knew. I mean, because I'm assuming we knew that he definitely knew. He's like, right, I'm going to get arrested from this. I don't, like, do you think that he was thought that far ahead? Because do you think he knew how much shit he was going to get in with his dad from this? Do you think he really, properly comprehended the ramifications of this? Because I think I was just thinking, and I'm like, if he knew that he'd probably have to pay, like, the reparation fee, that he'd obviously get into so much shit with his dad, you think of the sacrifice that was him basically taking the fall for Pope like that. Because it wasn't just him, like, spending a night in the jail cell. It was him spending a night in the jail cell, knowing that he's got to pay, like, what, $10,000 in, or $10,000, sorry, I forgot in American here, pounds. $10,000 in, like, reparations, or whatever the thing was called. And his dad obviously was going to find out about this, and his dad was not. Like, you think, like, you're like, you're assuming he must have thought that far ahead and was like, I'm prepared to go through all this in order for my friend to maintain his future. And he, like, and that's why I'm like, it's impossible not to like JJ up to this point. It's like, that was such a fucking selfless thing to do. Like, Jesus.
I have no notes.
I think that he did. I think he was aware things were going to be bad with his dad. Like, I think it's impossible for him to not be aware of that. But I also think the moment is, especially the way that it's shot, it's very panicky, and it's a very quick decision. Like, he just does it, which I think says a lot about JJ's character. But it's like a very panicked, high intensity scene, and JJ is kind of impulsive, but I think it would be impossible for him to have not thought about what his dad was going to do, at least. Which also, total side note about this scene, I didn't notice until I was rewatching this time. There's a very quick shot of Pope's being dragged away, and Hayward is holding JJ back. For some reason, that hits me really hard. I don't know what it is, but it's like his son is being dragged away, and Hayward's like having to hold JJ back from like attacking Shoupe, assumingly.
These like little sneak peeks we get into the whole like Hayward JJ dynamic, I'm just like, I love them, and I can kind of understand why we didn't get more of, especially the dynamic between Hayward and JJ. But I'm like, every single one we get, I'm like, hold on to it like a little goblin. I'm like, I love them so much, because you know that their relationship is like, you know, definitely that like Hayward pretends to like tolerate JJ. He's like, ugh, is this friend again? But you know, he like adores him. You know, he like absolutely, he loves him like a son. And
JJ should have gone to live with the Haywards in season 2.
Yeah, and then the real sibling energy would have popped out there. Take that, JJ.
Oh, wait till JJ Popes hear about foster care. They're gonna lose their mind.
No, I am waiting for the moment where JJ moves in and Pope goes, oh my god, you're my brother. I can't wait.
Oh my god, I'm gonna hold on to that.
Anyway, but yeah, I think those like little Hayward JJ snippets are just so good. And I think also it just shows how like, I know, just like Sophie, you were mentioning with like JJ and the gun, he's so fiercely protective of his friends, because this is sort of all he has. You know, like he doesn't really have a future like Pope. He doesn't have, you know, money like Kiara. He doesn't, I don't know what John B has. He doesn't have, you know.
Shirts. JJ didn't have a shirt that buttons.
Yeah. he doesn't. Oh, maybe this is terrible to say, but he almost doesn't have like a purpose like John B. Because John B, his purpose is to like find his father, go on the treasure hunt. Like JJ is very content to like spend his life on this island, you know, like making minimum wage and like sort of living like his father did, you know. And I think it's like, I've forgotten where I was going with this point, but oh yeah. So I think JJ. Yeah, I completely forgot what I was going with this point, but I love JJ a lot. And
No notes.
no. Yeah, I'm gonna listen back to this editing and be like, oh, that's where you were going with this point. But I've, until then. Hello, editing Mia back. This time she does have a microphone. And I remember in editing, I now remember what the point I was going with here. So basically, I meant to say is because JJ, he doesn't have this scholarship like Pope. He doesn't have money like Kiara. Doesn't really have this kind of drive and purpose in his life like John B. So kind of all he has are these friends, and you just see how he just wants, he's just so protective of them. Like what Soph was saying about like, him and the gun, these people are all he has. So he's just, he would do anything, including throwing himself in the way of this like metaphorical bus of the like $20,000 restitution and, a night in prison, and then like potentially very, very, very bad consequences with his dad to protect them. And I just think it just makes me sad. And I just, right? How did you not love JJ after the scene? What is wrong with you? JJ has nothing.
Soph has like a little note here amongst her like incredible notes, but just like Soph, when you mentioned that I really need on season 3 like the pose to like do something for JJ.
Yes. Oh my god.
That hasn't happened yet.
I really hope, and this is just so self-indulgent. Have either of you, Alex, I know you've watched The Wild. Soph, have you watched The Wild?
I have, yes.
Yes. I really hope that there's almost like a JJ birthday on the island, and they throw him a little birthday party, and they're like a little. I just really, it's so self-indulgent, but I'm like, I really want
me
that.
dead.
Like I just want them to make like. I just want them to make like little party hats out of leaves, and like show him that they love him. I just really that's on my alongside Ward rotisserie chicken rolling a shark. I really want JJ to have a birthday party on the island.
Damn it. Oh my god, I'm so sad you said that. It's never gonna happen.
It's just a brain rot. Imagine if the Carrera's anniversary like accidentally coincides with JJ's birthday or something.
Oh my god, why would you say that? Oh my god,
Guys,
and then the fight over the fence.
Having good ideas, because it's never gonna happen. Ever.
This is why we ride. Perfect.
It would be kind of sad. It would actually be very sad, but also it would make me. Am I a bad person? It'd make me laugh a little bit if the gate fight is JJ being like, "Why didn't you come to my birthday?"
Oh god,
he's like,
"Oh no."
Oh my god. What? And then what? The kooky like callback?
This is the second birthday you've missed, kind of like.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Oh my god.
I'm into it now.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we need to actually stop. We need to stop idealizing these situations because they're never going to happen. And the fight over the fence is going to be about something stupid. But actually, no, it's not. I do have faith in the pace. The fight over the fence is going to be delicious. Yeah. Or it's going to be that shoulder touch gate part 2.
Oh my god.
So if I don't know if you're around in the group chat for this point, but I think when in the lead up from season 1 to season 2, when all the pictures were getting released, there was someone took like a BTS video of in season 2, it's like the one shot where Pope is going to visit the lady whose name I've forgotten, the one who the lady. Yes, that's it. And Kiara and JJ are in the car together, and we clowned over. We were like, "Oh my gosh, they're in the car together. This is incredible. This is gonna be their moment."
Imagine
and
writing a spec fic about it.
Yeah, we were like, "This is gonna be it. This is gonna be it." Especially because then in later scene, it was like Pope was then sitting between them, so we were like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be incredible. He's gonna like break up a romantic moment." In the season, it was Kiara touching JJ's shoulder. No, JJ touching Kiara's shoulder for about 3 seconds. That was it, and we were like, cool. So I'm fully putting clown paint on my face, expecting this fence fight to be that part 2. It's gonna be part of like a montage. There's gonna be no speech. Anti-manifestations. The gate scene is over.
The amount of faith I have in the gate fight is alarming. I shouldn't have my hopes.
We've been burned before, but we have clowned before and we will clown again. I'm gonna honk bitch from driving over the cliff. It's gonna be great.
I had one more thing that I noticed. I think I noticed it in like the rewatch that I did before this rewatch. Where when JJ gets into the cell and they like take all of his jewelry. Like he usually wears like a bunch of rings and has like a lot more bracelets, but the only bracelet that they let him keep is, I assume it's like one of the Pogue friendship bracelets because it's like a braided one. And the fact that they did that, like they leave him, that's so cute. Oh my god. That's adorable. But they leave him with that one, and when he looks down at it, that's when he's been freaking out before, like he was pacing around the cell, but he looks at the bracelet and then he just smiles because he's like, you know what? I'm in jail, but I did it for my friend, and it makes it all worth it. And God damn it, I love him. I love him so much.
So what the fuck? Get off this chat right now. Leave.
I'm literally gonna kick you out of this Skype.
This is a terrible idea having you on.
I never noticed that, and I saw your note.
Yeah, me either.
What the hell?
ruins
That
me.
was I think that's intentional. I think that's
yeah.
actually something.
Has to.
Because for a second, it's like you watch that scene, and you're like, what a weird, kind of like a weird posture change.
Mhm.
If that's not what he was looking at, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was just sitting there, and he was like freaking out, and all of a sudden he's like, you know, like doesn't really read the same unless he's looking at the bracelet.
Yeah. And I love these friendship bracelets, and I kind of almost love they're not a huge deal. Like I think they've never explicitly been like, we've all got matching friendship bracelets, but they're just kind of like the fact that it's like such a subtle detail. I think it was, I'm gonna absolutely mix up my giffers here, or my jiffers. Sorry for Soph.
Representation.
Yeah. I'm gonna absolutely mix up my gifts. But I believe it was Lara. I'm really sorry if it was not Lara.
Are you talking about the red string one?
Yes, the red
It's Lara.
string. That was like, yeah. And it was like this incredible gift set that was like basically like connecting all their different friendship bracelets, and it makes me so emo whenever I see it. It's just like, because I just love that it's not a big deal, but I love it's just something that they have, and it's just such a constant for them. And then again, because like Alex said, I've never even noticed this moment before, and then so in your notes you mentioned it and had a whole existential crisis about it on the bus home. I was like, oh my god. Yeah, I just love that he, you know, like I think obviously shit's about to go down in the next episode especially with JJ, but like in this moment you can see almost in his face that he's like, this was the right decision for me to make. Which is just like, and again, when you see how much he's sacrificing for this, when you see that he's willing to, with the restitution and his dad, you kind of see how much he's like, this was worth it because of what I did it for. And you're just like listen, like if anyone gets through this episode and it's not a JJ standing on the other side of it, I don't trust you. Sorry.
Ray, sleep with one eye. Fuck you.
Ray, this is not a safe space for you.
Reestablishing that. Yeah, I agree. No notes. I didn't notice that the first time, and I think it's intentional. I really do. Like that's not something where I'm like, did they mean to do that? Yeah, I think they did. I really did.
And if not, then Rudy Punko serving us again.
Yeah, someone meant to do it, and thank you to them, whoever that was.
Yeah,
exactly.
And now, hilariously, probably the biggest moment of this episode that we will spend about 3 minutes talking about, the Jarah B kiss. Yeah, the rain kiss. I mean, I saw an interview that apparently was not meant to be raining, but it was for extra romance. Because Universe was like, how can we make this even cheesier than it already probably was? I mean, the thing is, again, I think objectively this is probably a cute kiss, but all I could think about, I'm like, Sarah, you have a boyfriend, and I know you're not going to break up with him because you're speaking like you're going to return to him, and I'm like, oh no.
Well, and John B, I wrote this. This is my only note from like this whole scene is John B's like, Sarah, I just had the best day of my whole life, and I was like. Really? This was the best day of your entire life, John B?
You got stalked by DCS. You like ran out of a car. You tripped over a fence. You scraped your knee. You got snuck into someone's house, and then you like sweated in a boiler room for probably 3 hours. This was the what?
Best day of his life.
It makes me so mad that it's not like, you know, the day he met JJ or like the day that the Pogues all came together or something. No,
this is the best day of his life.
Yeah, no, John B. Love walked in, Booker Rutledge. He, of course, is. Of course, is the best day of his life
right now because I know that people can't see the camera, but
I think we all rolled our eyes in tandem. I think we all rolled our eyes. But yeah, I mean, in this, because you made the comment, this is the best day of your life, John B, your whole life. And I said, stop being a Jarah B hater. But now at this point in the episode, you've almost converted me. Now I'm a bit like, guys,
Now?
come on.
Maybe be a Jarah hater.
Yeah. And now I'm realizing, I'm like, it was just their chemistry that's saving it. But like, when I look at it objectively, I'm like, I'm like, I just can't. I'm like, Sarah, you have your crusty boyfriend. Break up with your your crusty, slimy boyfriend.
Dude.
But I think, and the thing that kind of bothered me is because there's a scene that we like didn't talk about because it was maybe about 2 minutes long and not important. But there's a scene when they're on the ferry back and they're kind of like, oh, what are we going to be like when we get back? And Sarah is pretty much, she basically like, oh yeah, I'm going to return to Topper even though we obviously have this connection and I obviously like you. I was like, why? Why are you returning? For what reason?
No reason other than Sarah's kind of a bitch. Like pre-Parcel 9. Just who she is. But also this scene always makes me giggle because US Annie, this is a shout out to you. The song playing over it is called The Wand. And I remember this is how badly I tune out in Jarah B scenes. Annie was convinced for season, and also maybe how badly Annie tunes out during Jarah B scenes, because Annie was convinced the season 2 song was going to be The Wand. And like she thought it was going to be like the trailer song and it was going to slay. And I remember listening to it and being like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, yeah, this is definitely going to be it. And then I like rewatched season 1 with a friend like a month or 2 later and I was like, wait a minute. This is that song. This song is already played in Outer Banks and it's a Jarah song.
This song arguably was playing over one of Outer Banks's probably most like, or what they wanted to be one of the most iconic moments. And we already said, huh? We're like, what?
Yeah, I think like that more just speaks to like how much me and Annie probably weren't paying attention.
Yeah. I mean,
but I was watching, I was like, it is a great Outer Banks song, Annie, and that's because it's literally already in Outer Banks.
Yeah.
Almost like I've seen it in a scene before.
I mean, for this teaser, I'm gonna have to go back and watch both season 2, like the trailer and the teaser. But I guess, is this the song that they're hitching their wagon to for this season? The one that was already in the trailer? I mean, there's no way to know, but like,
I hope so. It's good.
It was a good song.
Yeah. I love it.
Can you believe that this episode charted my progression from Jarah Stan to Jarah absolute hater?
He is like, how dare you? Her notes are literally like, Alex, you psychopath. Why do you hate happiness? Why do you hate Jarah B? And now me at the end of the episode, like, yeah, fuck Jarah B. I can't stand them.
Worst ship ever, actually.
No TP.
I caved to peer pressure so fast. You both are like, I don't love Jarah B, and I'm like, me either. I hate them.
Why?
Yeah.
Give me your Emily format essay.
Oh yeah, we've still got one more scene left of the episode. Sorry, I thought we were done there, but no, we've got one more scene. I mean, one more scene. We've got a shot
cut out there.
I know. We've got a shot. This is much better than every single time one of my housemates has walked in on us and had a chat to me for 20 minutes. But yeah, and then the episode ends after this, incredible, really memorable, clearly, kiss between John B and Sarah, with this ominous shot of someone draped in darkness, wrapping up the compass. And we're like, oh, who could this possibly be? Because the last thing I remember, the compass was in possession of one Susan Peterkin of Kildare PD. And then, boom, guess what's revealed? The gaff hook. Dun, dun, dun. Who could this possibly be? Judging by the books on the shelf.
Attack.
Pray. Hunt.
Cameron himself.
Eat. But yeah, and then, I mean, and I did make a point of this. I said, because I remember watching this episode and I think now with knowledge of Ward, it's easy for me to be like a little creeped out because Sarah speaks of Ward so reverently in this episode. Like she's like, my dad worked really hard for this life, blah, blah, blah. And now knowing that is almost completely juxtaposed with the shot of Ward wrapping up a murder weapon that he used to kill 2 men. You're like, damn, baby girl, you've got so much to work through in the next few episodes. But yeah, I just thought that was a very chilling shot. And yeah, and then
overall thoughts, everyone. So 2 thumbs up from me. Good episode.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this episode. Again, I think like we said at the beginning, this episode really kicks the plot into action. And I was like, yeah, this is good. This is where I was like, I can binge this. Because I was like enjoying it, but I was enjoying it in the way that you watch like one episode a day and you don't feel like particularly obliged to watch the next one. But this is when I was like, right, no, I'm finishing this in one evening. Yeah, and now it's been a curse, it's been a plague ever since.
My like only complaint is that I don't love it when they
Too many
kind of
Jarah B
section
scenes.
off Jarah. Well, I don't love it when they kind of section off Jarah B and then Pope, Key, and JJ. I like it when like they're all together doing their thing. Because I just don't like following two different plot lines going on at once, especially once we get into like season 2 when it's like Rafe and Ward and then John B and Sarah. Like that was, I didn't like that, but that's more just a personal preference thing. They did it very well. I like this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that they did like the two, like the A plot line and the B plot line, I think it was much, I don't know your thoughts about the previous episode because that episode isn't out yet, but like I think they did it much better in this episode than in episode 3 because like in episode 3 you're just stuck between like, oh, this is Sarah and Topper and then this is the Pogues, and I think that pacing is just so bad. But then in this one, like they're all kind of integrated, Jesus Christ, in each other's plot lines. Like Rafe and Topper are in like Key and JJ and Pope's thing, and then like Sarah is in John B's. So I don't know. I think it's just a cool way to kind of like get all of the characters in the plot, like for the first time.
Yeah.
And once again, Soph is making us look like idiots on our show because that was an excellent way of putting it. And I'm just like, meh, Jarah B. And Soph's like, but the A plot, B plot. Like, oh my god, you're right.
No, I definitely agree. I think I do think it was quite funny. I think like Alex said, I think the like contradiction of like JJ, Pope, and Kiara absolutely getting the shit beaten out of them, and then immediately cut to John B and Sarah having a little fashion show. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, I think this is like, yeah, I did thoroughly enjoy this episode. I think I know I've ended this episode as a crotchety Jarah B hater now. But you know what? I do stand by. I think I did, for the most part, I enjoyed the Jarah B in this. I think it was definitely good in, sort of morally dubious cheating aside. I think it was definitely good in sort of establishing their chemistry and their romance as well. Because I know this happened in a very, very, very short time frame. But I think considering this is like they're the main couple and up until this point they haven't had huge amounts of time together, I think this was definitely like a good establishing. They've got chemistry, they're attracted to each other, they're going to be the couple for the show. I think like when you think about that, I'm like, you know what, I think you've done a good job. And even though it was definitely rushed, I like the kiss at the end was believable. I'm like, I believe that you both like enjoy each other's company and you both like each other now after this. Even though I'm like, Sarah, pick up your fucking boyfriend. But I mean, all's forgiven because Chopper then fucking pushes John B out of a tree in like a few episodes time.
Jarah B, I think just bottom line is they are what they are.
Yeah, that's a good description. They are what they are.
It is what it is. And overall, really good episode, guys.
Yeah. What would you rate it out of 10?
Oh, out of 10?
I'd give this like a
7.
solid. Yeah, I was gonna say 7 as well.
Man, I was gonna go like an 8. I really like this episode. I do. I don't know.
I think I know I've literally talked nothing about nothing but Parcel 9. Parcel 9 is my favorite season 1 episode. So I think that is like that's sort of my barometer.
Hands down. Hands down.
Yeah.
That's
my 10 episodes. So everything else I'm like, well, how's it compared to Parcel 9?
Yeah. Don't come at us with the whole, oh, what about Dead Calm? No, Parcel 9 is the best episode of season 1.
Dead Calm has great moments in it, but as a whole, it's kind of not that great.
Correct. Some of the best Outer Banks moments, not one of its best episodes.
Absolutely.
So true.
Y'all are just blinded by the Giara. Like, just say you're a crazy Giara and keep going.
We're different.
Yeah. Like, we can be objective, actually. We say spending nothing but about, like, Jesus, nearly 3 hours talking about Giara. And that's on that. Time flies when we're having fun.
It really does. So thank you so much for joining us. You are our first guest, and this went exceptionally well.
Yes, you were incredible.
Thank you. I love y'all. This is a lot of fun. Thank you.
What would you warn people who are going to come onto HMSPod about?
Oh, they're gonna ask you about kitchen utensils, and also really just put you on blast for how you say certain words. So you know what?
Yeah.
If you're thinking this is gonna be like a safe space, you're wrong.
No, it's not. Watch your fucking backs.
Yeah, actively, especially Ray. We've
We're
got
gonna,
known.
yeah, right? It's this podcast enemy number one. Public enemy number one of HMSPod is fucking universally echo. Don't come near us.
But Soph, the question is, have you decided what kitchen utensil you will be?
You know what? Since
You've had
I
nearly
did
3 hours.
You know what? Shockingly, did not think about it once. I was a little distracted by JJ. But since I did open a beer for this, I'm gonna say that I'm a beer opener thing.
Ooh,
That's
I like
very
it.
fair.
Sure. Avant-garde. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Alex, what did we decide we were? I think you were a blender.
You're a vegetable peeler. I just like
Yay.
stand by that, and I don't have any supporting evidence. That's just
Yeah. It's an upgrade because at the beginning, Alex, without hesitation, without even a moment's pause, was like whisk. You're a whisk, and I was like, that feels like a hate. That feels like a slur.
Comment below. Is Mia a whisk or a vegetable peeler?
We'll find out.
For whisk, comment for vegetable peeler.
But yeah, so do you want to do a little plug of yourself at the end of the episode? Say where we could know.
Oh, that's okay. I'll do it for you.
Don't find me.
Do not perceive me.
Well, you can find Soph on a Tumblr, and AO3, on in a Discord, and in a country, in a planet. So
Yeah.
thank you.
And that's all about Soph.
So yeah. So I'm sorry, I've spilled all your secrets now. Everyone knows exactly where to find you.
I'm gonna dox you. I'm gonna dox the fuck out of you.
Yeah. Sorry, make sure to lock your doors this time, unlike John B.
I think that's our ending right there, Mia.
Cool. All right.
And remember to lock your doors and don't cheat on your partner. Thank you for
also, wait. Stay fun, stay sexy.
Oh, stay fun, stay sexy.
So, do you want to give us a stay fun, stay sexy? Nope.
She doesn't.